slowly, just our bodies laying side by side, sinking till we're halfway underground. It's not over, pull me closer, don't let go, not now. This emptiness is more than I can bear. Would you leave it all behind? Rewind, rewind. Would you take me back in time to find peace of mind? Would you leave it all behind? 'Cause I can't keep going like this, never catch a grip. Would you leave it all behind? Rewind. Would you leave it all behind? Cause I can't keep going like this, never catch a grip. Would you leave it all behind? Rewind. Would you leave it all behind? Where did we get lost in this? Those summers I do miss, when we were just two kids without a hitch. As soon as our feet hit the ground, we're running out this town. 'Cause we both know there's more to life than this. Would you leave it all behind? Rewind, rewind. Would you take me back in time to find peace of mind? Would you leave it all behind? 'Cause I can't keep going like this, never catch a grip. Would you leave it all behind? Rewind. Would you leave it all behind? Cause I can't keep going like this, never catch a grip. Would you leave it all behind? Rewind. Would you leave it all behind? Feel we're rocking to a pond, ripples fade away. Human hearts aren't so lucky, those battle scars remain. Oh, I can't let go of the one thing I wanted most. I'm chasing echoes, echoes of your ghost. Can't let go of the one thing I wanted most. I'm chasing echoes, echoes of your ghost. La da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da. ripples fade away. Human hearts aren't so lucky. Those battle scars remain. Oh, I can't let go of the one thing I wanted most. I'm chasing echoes, echoes of your ghost. Can't let go of the one thing I wanted most. I'm chasing
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Friday Tea with a Hacker. Good stuff. Good stuff. Guess what, everybody? Put your hands together, pat yourself on the back, give yourself a huge thumbs up. You made it to the end of the week, and I couldn't be more prouder of you. Good job. Way to go. What a week it has been, too, right? What a week it has been. I mean, just this sheer volume of stuff that happened this week. 3 huge streams. We'll get into all that. First and foremost, thank you all so very much for tuning in this Friday morning. This is our Friday morning Tea with a Hacker. Happy morning, Ask Me Anything stream. That's right, where I sit here with my tea and my coffee and my cynicism and my soapbox, and I give you a little bit of all that to round out the week and start us into the weekend, and hopefully where everybody gets to chill out and be awesome. With that being said, let's go over a few rules. We do have moderators in chat. Moderators are here to keep chat free of racist, sexist, misogynistic, elitist, and otherwise toxic behavior. We have a zero tolerance policy for that. They do not have a problem using that big, huge, giant band hammer that they've got if you exhibit any forms of toxicity inside of chat. They are not here, however. Can't emphasize this enough. Hey, good morning to my good friend Mike Bousquet, Chief Product Officer over at Query, hanging out on LinkedIn. Good to see you, buddy. Happy morning over in glorious Austin, Texas. They're not here, however, to stifle chat in any way whatsoever. They're here to make sure that your voice gets heard and that everybody can participate and commune with their fellow cybersecurity professional inside of chat. So, with that being said, as this is our AMA stream, we do highly encourage any and all forms of questions. What kind of questions do you mean? Literally any type of question out there, right? And you can ask me about golf, you can ask me about cancer, you can ask me about cybersecurity, you can ask me about red teaming, blue teaming, CISO work, product works, living at a startup, working at a big Fortune 100 company, ask about consulting and big 4 consulting company, whatever. Ask me about my military days, my NSA days. I don't care. Ask me about anything. It's literally ask me anything. We absolutely love questions around here. We love talking to the community. This is your time. We usually do theme streams throughout the week. We had Old Guy Wednesday on Friday with my good friend Jeff. We had Sec Data Ops yesterday with my good friend Rick McElroy. Those are streams where we talk about themes and specifics. And so sometimes you've got these broader general sense of questions that don't always get answered. This is your time. This is your time to ask any of those questions, and we actually sit here, we encourage it, we love to do it. Why? Because it's not every day that you get to talk to a real live cybersecurity person. I am live, yes, and I'm real. In person on stream, and so with that being said, feel free to drop your question in chat at any point in time. We do have moderators in chat. Like you see Mr. BSEC there hanging out. We'll grab questions, put those questions inside a queue, push those questions up on screen just like that. Those questions come up on screen, be like, oh my God, there's a question from Mass. He says, shout out to Texas. That's right. Mike frequently takes conference calls from his patio next to his pool, and you can always tell, like, he's just dying to get into that pool in Texas because it's always hot in Texas. Unlike here where it's 60, or if it was 58 this morning, which is nice. It's starting to cool off a little bit. I'm really digging that because now, like, going to play golf in the morning, it's actually a little bit chill, and I don't sweat my neck off golfing first thing in the morning. Anyway, ask me anything. Love it. We absolutely dig it. With that being said, though, we do ask that you only ask the question once. I do promise you we've got moderators in chat. We've got VIPs in chat. They all see your question. They're all trying to help out and make sure that we get those questions answered on stream. And so we do just ask that you ask that question only once. We are streaming live across TikTok, Twitch, X, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And so we do encourage questions across all of those platforms. We absolutely love it. With that being said, as promised, early bird special. Because we are streaming on multi-platforms, we have moved our giveaways to Discord. So we do ask that you hit that exclamation point Discord. If you're in Twitch chat, we will absolutely get that Discord link posted across all of the other social media platforms. You should go over to Discord now, because here it is. The giveaway is live this morning in the giveaways channel on Discord. That's right. Starting now, running through Monday. That way, if you're watching this stream on VOD, if you're watching this stream on replay on LinkedIn or X or any of the other platforms you can watch this on replay, you have until Monday to participate in the giveaway. So you can head right on over to the Discord, hop into the giveaways channel, and you can participate. We are giving away 3 Network Plus courses. We're giving away 3 Security Plus courses, and we're giving away two of Jax's AI courses. So we've got public math, 8. We got 8 courses that we're giving away. We're going to pick 8 individual winners. You cannot win the same one. You cannot be in the same one. You can't win more than one, right? So feel free to enter into all of them. But if I pull your name twice, I'll probably reach out to you and say, which one do you want of the ones that you won, things like that. So you can participate in all of them, but you can only win one. Network Plus, Sec Plus, and Jax's AI Auditing course. I want to give a huge shout out to ACI Learning, specifically Jennifer Kelly. Do me a favor. These folks provide training for free to you via cyber insecurity. And so my ask, go over there and show them some appreciation for giving these courses away for free. Give them a shout out on social media. Give them a message on DM. Tell them that you saw them on cyber insecurity and that you absolutely appreciate them giving back to the community. We'll announce that multiple times, but you can head on over to Discord and get entered into that. Sakis over on LinkedIn with the first question of the day. If you had to name 2 to 3 basic skills for a postgraduate without working experience to fill, post of experience in the field to get hired as a SOC analyst, what would it be? Communication, written, and basic networking skills. There you go. There's 3 of them right there. Legend, the Prexton Show. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Good to see you in chat. Excited for everybody here. So we did have a crazy week this week. I'm gonna let the question queue fill up a little bit here. Keep those questions coming in. We'll add them to the queue. We had an exciting week this week. Highly encourage you to go back and check the VODs. We had Jeff Goals for the Old Guy Wednesday, and Jeff's been on the stream before. He was we used to do Old Guy Wednesday every Wednesday. I'm still trying to convince him to come back. Hit him up on DMs. And tell him he must come back for Old Guy Wednesday. He'll thank me for it. Trust me, it'll be all right. You can absolutely do it. You got my person. If he complains to say, Neil told me I could do it, it's all right. Make it happen. But we talked a lot about that communication process that exists between what I would call the vendor marketplace and CISOs that exist out there, right? Because we do think that is a pretty huge disparity that exists. And so lots of opportunity to kind of see the inner workings of how, organizations make tooling decisions, interact with, the go-to-market workforce that exists out there, and a lot of the pitfalls that happen. So if you're interested in sales engineering, if you're interested in sales, my heart goes out to you. Please go seek therapy, but also go watch Wednesday's VOD and check out my good friend, Jeff. Also, we had Rick McElroy yesterday hanging out with us on Sec Data Ops. Sec Data Ops is where we talk. We do that twice a month now, I think it is. Every other Thursday. Twice a month, every other Thursday. We do that every other Thursday, and really that's a conversation where we merge our conversation between security operations, data operations, and developer operations, because as Rick articulated yesterday, the amount of data that security teams have to have access to, you can hear it from Rick's mouth yesterday, right? We talk extensively about just this blow up of data that has happened in the cybersecurity space, where, security teams are finally acknowledging they don't have access to it, finally acknowledging that they need more of it to become proficient in what it is that you do in a security operations center on a day-to-day basis. And quite honestly, it's hard to get to. And so we talk about those challenges. We talk about ways to solve around them. So make sure you go check out yesterday's VOD from Sec Data Ops with Rick McElroy, former strategist at Carbon Black, VMware, Broadcom, throughout those different acquisitions. A great chat and a good friend. We're going to have Rick on a lot more. I absolutely love my friend Rick. Glad to see him. It is never a bad day when Rick is hanging out. I'm not gonna butcher your name over on YouTube. I do truly appreciate it. Currently working in infrastructure security and red team profile. I have no AppSec experience. I was thinking of where to go next for the career-wise, audits or management, trying to figure out my options. I don't think there's a bad answer to this. There's a lot of, one of the things that I love about security is that it's easy to pivot to what interests you. For instance, right, when I got out of the military, right, I got out of the military and did tons of pen testing, right? I was red teaming lead. I'd built pen testing organizations. I was doing tons of pen tests. all that stuff, right? I knew that I needed to pivot at some point in time into less offensive and more rounded cybersecurity stuff so that I can pave my way as a path to a CISO. I primarily knew that that needed to be security operations. And so it was real easy to look for the opportunity to find a place where I could pivot out of red teaming and pen testing and pivot over into security operations and leading security teams so that I could make my way to a path to CISO. And so I would say that, like, first of all, I don't think it's difficult to pivot in cybersecurity. I actually think cybersecurity is probably one of the easiest places to pivot at all in cybersecurity, just because of how broad and adaptable most things that you learn in cybersecurity are. So I don't think there's a wrong answer to, like, should you pivot or where should you pivot to. What I do think is interesting about cybersecurity is the things that drive us to those pivots, right? You mentioned audit or management. I think both of those are fantastic options, right? Listen, there is like I know Joel and I, had a pretty cornerstone stream where we talked about, garbage jobs. And while auditing may not be for me and GRC may not be for me specifically, there is high amounts of opportunity and lots of respect and lots of opportunity to talk to senior leaders across the organization. If you're on a path to senior leadership, audit and GRC is not a horrible place to go. Absolutely, by any stretch of the imagination. And so I see this question, and I absolutely appreciate this question. Keep those questions coming in, but I don't think that there's a wrong answer. I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think this is not cliche to say, and so don't think that it's very cliche, but what makes you happy? Now that you've been on the tactical side, let's phrase it this way. Now that you've got 6 years, now that you've been working in infrastructure security, you've been doing red teaming, it doesn't matter that you don't have any AppSec experience, right? Do you feel like now that you can take that experience and you can go and share that broadly across the cybersecurity team and put that information to work? I think that's the best possible scenario where you could take everything that you've learned as an experienced cybersecurity professional and apply those controls broadly to the organization instead of being narrowly focused on one particular thing. And so good luck. Congratulations. If you got any follow-up questions on that one, feel free to drop them. My good friend Mike Bousquet, we're going to call that one so for those on Twitch who are used to the channel points, if you're not familiar with it, you can look down below where underneath that message box, there's a little Hack the Planet icon where you can use channel points. You can highlight a message as a priority question. I'm going to consider Mike's question over on LinkedIn to be a priority question because I absolutely love questions from Mike. Mike is our Chief Product Officer at Query, and I've worked with a lot of product teams, and Mike's approach is very pragmatic, and he seeks to understand. We talked a little bit about this yesterday with Rick. We talked a little bit about this on Wednesday with Jeff, that product managers and product management understanding of the solution and the problem set is really key. And Mike, if you get a chance, go find Mike over on LinkedIn, Mike Bousquet, the CPO at Query. Go follow him because he's probably one of the best product managers I've ever had the opportunity to work with. 2 questions for the SOC analysts, threat hunters, and incident responders in the community. So anybody who hears this, if you fall into that category, if you've got a desire, please chime up in chat on your response to this, especially the person who just asked me about, infrastructure security. What is your biggest frustration in your day-to-day job / operations? What is the number one thing that would make your jobs easier? If you got an answer to Mike Bousquet, drop it in there. I'll hold mine until I see some answers from chat coming through, but I obviously have my own jaded opinions on this topic, but I want to see what the community has to say. So if you got an answer to Mike's question was, what is your biggest frustration in your day-to-day job / security operations, and what's the number one thing that would make your job easier? Please drop that into chat. Love it. I love this one from El Loco Daddy. As a recent grad, should I pursue CISSP certification first or the CISO? I'm thinking you mean CISO across like a certification perspective, or for CISSP. Like, I think so I don't think you should pursue CISSP if you are a recent grad. Let's just get that out there, right? Like, I always repeat this, but I want to make sure you understand exactly what I'm saying. I am very anti-cert. That does not mean that I don't opine on certs, and that doesn't mean I don't have opinions on certs. That doesn't mean that I don't see where certs have a meaning or a value in our industry. And so don't confuse the two, but I'm very anti-cert. The reason why is because certs these days don't hold the same value that they used to. Like it or not, OSCP does not hold the same value that it used to. CISSP does not hold the same value that it's used to. Do not make the mistake. I can't say this emphatically enough. Do not make the mistake of thinking that simply because it shows up on a job rec that it has value. Remember, a job rec is a wish list, not a set of requirements. I can't stress that enough. I know that it feels different when you're in the marketplace. I know that it feels different when you're hunting for a job. Sometimes it can feel like, no, that is a bar that I must climb to get a job. But I can assure you and promise you, well over 20 years in this space, that a job description is a wish list, not a set of requirements. And because of the explosion and access of information, because of the explosion and access for any Jim Joe Bob that exists out there to turn on a camera, like I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody. And I turned on a camera 4 years ago and started streaming on Twitch. And now we have hundreds of thousands of people that watch us all over the globe. Right? It's that easy for you to turn on your camera and start producing content. It is twice as easy for you to go make a cert. Go sign up for Teachable. Go sign up for Thinkific. Go to Udemy. All those platforms allow you to make a course and have a cert. Right? All of those allow you to create a cert. And so when it is that easy to make a cert, the actual endeavor of having a cert becomes trivial. And the value becomes non-existent, right? Basic economy, supply and demand. When there is more supply of certifications, the demand for certified professionals goes down. It is economics 101. That's why I'm cynical on certs. I will always be cynical on certs. It's exactly how I feel about it. Go ahead and feel free to attempt to change my mind, but I doubt that you will. Right? And so with that being said, I think as a recent grad, as somebody who is new to the field of cybersecurity, your focus should not be on don't attain any more certs. I'm not saying ever. I'm not saying there isn't a time and a place for it, but your role, new to the industry, should be focused on sticking as much real world knowledge into your precious skull as humanly possible. At the end of the day, I don't care about that piece of paper. What I care about is what knowledge you have in your head. M. Crow says it best. I absolutely love this. I always say this. Don't chase certs, chase knowledge. Right? It is more important to be knowledgeable than it is to be certified. All right, lots of amens coming across. Got some amens from YouTube. That resonates with a lot of folks, right? Because a lot of the folks, when you see this, listen, let's acknowledge something. This community has a wide mix of people who are experienced and people who are new to the industry, right? The experienced people are chiming in chat. Pay attention to chat wherever you happen to be seeing this across, and they will all validate for you, right? That experience trumps the cert. And so this isn't just me talking out of some cynical old guy, fantastical type of, premise. This is based on years of experience. We want you out there getting knowledge. We want you out there getting knowledge. And so as a recent grad, I would say, absolutely, please, for the love of all that is cyber, go out there and get the knowledge, right? It's It is. This is a great take, right? Attitude, experience, credentials, right? Absolutely. Listen, listen, I love all the new grads. Please, if you're new here, please ask all the questions in the world, right? It is very confusing out there. There is a lot going on in the cyber world. And so absolutely, please ask as many questions as you want. Understand though that like, you come here for hot takes, you're going to get hot takes. I have tons of certs. I love that from Outcast, right? I have tons of certs. You know what? The military paid for them. I wasn't going to turn them down. The military paid for them. I wasn't going to turn down both my OSCPs. I wasn't going to turn down my SANS courses. I wasn't going to turn that stuff down because they were going to go free. That's right. M. Crow says, Neil's statement number 2, right? Do the free stuff first. Right? Military gave, I'm eternally grateful for the free certs I got. They didn't really help me. They didn't prepare me. Like nothing I learned in any of those certs actually ever got used in real world operations. Right? So absolutely love it. Mike, there was one answer in Twitch to your question. At least I think it was. I think somebody responded to your question about your number one, your biggest frustration day to day in operations. True Carrot Flynn said vendors. I know you would appreciate that. On that same note, like I think this is a fantastic segue into this question, right? What would be the best way to get real world experience as most junior security jobs will require experience in the field? So again, keep in mind, let's talk about this experience in field thing, because I think that this is, again, become less emotional. Oh God, I even hate saying that out loud, but you have to start thinking pragmatically, right? If a job description says that they want somebody with 1 to 3 years of experience, they have to put something on the resume. And if they're looking at you with 0 years of experience and somebody else with 3 years of experience, of course, they're going to want the person with 3 years of experience instead of the person with 1 year of experience. You can't be upset with that. You can't be upset with that. Right? That's not anything that you can control to an extent. So first and foremost, and again, back to my statement before, job recs are wish list. Right? Job recs are wish list, not requirements list. Okay? And so they're going to get, and again, this is why I go back to it. You have to think pragmatically. These people are getting thousands and thousands of applications a day. Heaven help you if you put up a job description today for an entry-level position. The amount of job recs that you get if you put an entry-level position out there on the internet today is nutso. Right? Is absolutely nuts. And so you can't realistically expect that of all of the people that apply to a role, that if you have 0 years of experience, back to my supply and demand, that you're going to win out over somebody who has more. So be realistic and don't think that it's because you don't have a cert or it's because you aren't this high to ride the ride. You're competing against somebody else. Right? And so with that being said, once you've level set your expectations, let's talk about the best way to get real world experience, right? I'm not sure if the bot command still works. We used to have an exclamation point gig in Twitch chat. I don't know if it still works there or not. Okay, it doesn't look like it does. Maz is checking it now. There are, so some of the big four. So I oftentimes talk about big four consulting companies, right? Companies like PwC, Deloitte & Touche, KPMG, companies like that, right? I oftentimes talk about those types of companies because I think consulting companies are amazing for first time experience, right? I know for a fact that 2 of the big 4 consulting companies, Deloitte and Touche and PwC, have gig work websites. The bot command doesn't work. Hold on? I may have Stream Elements up. I may be able to find that bot command. Do we have that bot command up? We don't. Maybe I can get one of the VIPs or the mods who are listening to go find it. PwC has a site called Talent Exchange. Deloitte has a site called Gig Now. Right? I think that's what it's called. I think it's called Gig Now. Both of those are effectively Fiverr and Upwork for big 4 companies, right? Thank you, Maz. I appreciate that. If we can get those pasted over on YouTube and LinkedIn too, that'd be great if you can. But those gig work websites allow you to bid on work the same way that you would if it was Fiverr and Upwork. They are, and True's right? You're a contract worker, right? Don't expect good pay. Like, I think that depends, right? Remember, when you're a junior person and you're trying to get your foot in the door, any pay is good pay, and experience means more than anything else. And so really don't think about the pay, because if you're just concerned about experience, then you should be grateful and happy to have the opportunity to work for and have the opportunity to have Big 4 and PwC on your resume. And I think that speaks miles more than worrying about whether you're getting paid a crap ton of money to go do gig work for PwC or Deloitte and Touche, right? And so I agree with you that it's probably not maximized earning potential, but hey, you know what it is? You can do multiple of it, right? You can do multiple engagements. You could do one for PwC and one for Deloitte, and you can maximize your efforts there, right? But if you're looking for experience, those 2 websites that Maz put into chat for Talent Exchange and Gig Now, those are hands down your best opportunities to go get experience. There are other places. Go to Bug Bounties, literally. And these things that I'm saying today, you need 0 experience. If you're hearing my voice now, if you're hearing my voice in the VOD, if you hear my voice in 3 months, if you hear my voice in a year when Jens clips this and posts it out, I don't care, right? You can go today and sign up for these platforms. You need 0 experience to sign up for the platforms. There is no gatekeeping on these platforms. What I mean by gatekeeping, you could literally go sign up for these platforms today and create a profile and start bidding on jobs. They don't say, please show us your degree before you sign up. They don't say, please show us your OSCP before you sign up. They don't show you any of that. You go sign up, you create a profile like you would on Upwork or Fiverr, and you start bidding on jobs that are interest to you. Right? That's how you can get some experience. You can go do Bug Bounties. Maz is a great example of this, right? Maz was I'm going to pick on you a little bit, Maz, because I love you, right? He was a customer success person trying to get into cyber. And in his spare time, he started doing Bug Bounties. And I remember the day he called me and said that he got his first bounty. And the level of excitement that he had in his voice was nuts. And it is still experience. Remember, and I've got a clip that's out there that says this, right? Bug bounties are just unpaid pen test. Period. Dot. Into discussion, right? What is a pen test? Let's walk through, everybody. Let's walk through the process. What is a pen test, right? You have a scope. You have rules of engagement. You then begin to test against the scope. And you either find vulnerabilities or you don't. And you attempt to exploit them. And then you write a report on it. Isn't that what a pen test is? That's exactly what you do for bug bounties. You either find something or you don't. What some of you refuse to make the distinction on, and let's be crystal clear about this. Let's be crystal clear. Some of you make the distinction because, like, no, I want to get paid to get experience on pen testing. Therefore, I want you to pay me, Mr. Company. I want you to invest in me to teach me how to do pen testing in the real world. Tell me I'm wrong. Some of you have got that mentality. And you know what? If that's what you want, now is not the time to be in the job force. The supply and demand that exists out there, you're not just going to sit back and say, like, I have zero experience. I expect an employer to pay for it. Because there is somebody out there that wants your spot. And so you have to go out there and you have to work to get a spot that you want. And so, yes, you may need to go do some bug bounties on HackerOne or BugCrowd or any of those other platforms, and you may have to grind away at it, not getting any bounties for months and months on end, so that you can get your experience doing pen testing. Hurt some feelings with that one, but you can't just sit back and expect your first job to be given to you when you have nothing to contribute to a company. Sounds harsh, but it's reality. Right? I don't mean it to be overly harsh. I just want you to understand experience, right? Experience is awesome. And there are ways out there to get it. I promise you there are ways out there to get them. This is a great follow-up question, right? So home lab projects are better. I try to stay away from the use of the word better. They are good. They are good, right? Home labs help you. Home labs help you bridge the gap between what you're able to learn on your own and what you may learn on site. Blue Team Labs Online, cyberdefenders.org, Hack the Box, Try Hack Me. Those are what I would refer to as home labs still, but they're SaaS-based home labs where you don't have to do the IT infrastructure. Let's make a distinction here when we talk about this, right? Some people have an idea where it's like, oh, I'm going to go build a home lab, and they think the learning happens differently depending on where you're at in the home lab process. I'm a fan. I don't want your learning to be grinding suck on figuring out how to get a config file working for a Docker image just so you can figure out how to run Teapot as a honeypot. I don't find that valuable. I think everybody should go through the suck, but I don't think you have to go through it immediately. Like I'm a fan. Like there's for those who understand the American colloquialism, right? It's better to teach a man to fish, right? I'm a fan of, hey, let's give you some fish so you're not starving. And then when you're not starving and you're not desperate, then let's teach you how to fish. That's something I've always lived by, right? You know, there's a mentality out there that's like desperation creates the best learners, right? There's some truth to that. I don't want to disparage that because I do think there's some truth. Desperation does create right? Desperation does create some incentive, but I'm a fan of like, hey, you have more incentive if you're not starving during the process. Logan over on LinkedIn says not just pen testing, the entire cyber market. The fish thing may be a Chinese proverb. I don't know. I'm a Sun Tzu fan. As a matter of fact, do I still have it? I do. Favorite book right here. Sits right by my desk. Art of War. Absolutely love it. Neil, what is your thoughts on what World Economic Forum said in 77 days there is a cyber attack? I mean, do they think that that's prophetic? I think there was just a cyber attack yesterday. Maybe there was one the day before that. I think there may have been one the day before that. There are cyber attacks that are happening daily. Like, if that's news to you, welcome to cybersecurity. Cyber attacks happen daily. Breaches happen daily. Personal data, company data, intellectual property gets stolen daily. There's a conspiracy theories happening in chat. Conspiracy theory, the World Economic Forum planning on attacking Europe. We don't get into politics. No politics in chat. No politics in chat. I also don't participate in conspiracy theories. I think we may have some folks in chat who participate in conspiracy theories. I think that anybody predicting a cyber attack, that's the same as being like, oh my God, you wouldn't believe what I found in this box. Right? All those clickbaity titles that you see on YouTube. Right? Like, cyber attacks happen daily. Ask anybody who's working in a SOC. Cyber attacks happen daily. Not off topic, and I absolutely love it. Like I said, this is an AMA. The last part of that A stands for anything. I grabbed this one and pushed this one up because I like this one. I don't mind that it's off topic. I absolutely love it. What golf simulator do you have and how do you like it? Anything you change about your current setup? I'm looking to build one and trying to collect ideas from actual owners. Absolutely. I went through an entire process on this. So I own the SkyTrack Plus. I wanted the Foresight. The price difference was pretty astounding on the two. I bought the SkyTrack Complete kit. And so we converted one of the rooms in the house to an entire golf simulator room. So it has the backdrop, it has the projector, it's got the launch monitor in it. It's got a TV so I can watch golf while I'm hitting golf balls. No, it wasn't the GC Quad. I wanted the Foresight. That was what I wanted. I didn't want TrackMan because, so again, golf nerding, we're going to nerd out a little bit on golf stuff, right? So the TrackMan is radar based. And so you've got the TrackMan that sits behind the golfer and it watches the ball and it launches to the screen. Well, those things have a really terrible track record that if you don't have enough distance between the time it strikes the club and the time it hits the back page or the back space of the impact screen, your results are going to suck. And so I wanted something that was going to watch the club face and take the pictures of the club face and make all the mathematical computation on the club face because I felt like that was more accurate for an enclosed space than a TrackMan or any of the radar-based launch monitors. And so I did a photo based launch monitor. And that's proven to be really good. What I've also learned, and my PGA coaches have helped me with this, the numbers don't mean shit. Right? He says, don't pay attention to any other distance other than carry distance. He says, really the only thing you care about are things like smash factor, club face path and club direction and golf ball speed when it exits. Like those are the only things that you should really care about because everything else is going to change depending on the course, atmospheric conditions, yada, 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 all the things that go into a golf course. And so I've even had to change how the numbers are displayed on the screen so that I get the best benefit out of it. And so what would I change? I would definitely, if I had the money, I'd still bank on a Foresight. Hands down, I think Foresight's the best. I think TrackMan's the best if you had like one of those garages that opened up outside and you could hit golf balls outside. I think a TrackMan would be best for that. But I definitely highly encourage the building of one in your own house. It is quite awesome. It is quite awesome. Epic advice from Maz on this one right here, right? If you could predict a cyber attack, then wouldn't the cyber attack fail? Absolutely. Listen, and please, again, AMA stands for Ask Me Anything. I do not mind going off topic. That's why I'm here. Ask me literally anything about golf, cyber, cancer, life in general. You can ask me about the coffee I'm drinking. I don't care. Just real quick on Vols things. You got to use the RCT golf balls. Yeah, but I have to say, it has been amazing to me how quickly golf balls wear out when you hit 500 shots a day on a simulator. And RCT golf balls are stupid expensive. And that is something that I learned the hard way is that like you can't You can't buy cheap golf balls for a simulator and expect to get any level of consistent results with the numbers. And so, like, I've actually had to invest in the same golf balls that I hit out on tournament days so that at least the numbers were consistent and I knew when I was having a bad day and a good day. And so buying those RCT balls, they're like $70 a box or something like that, and they wear out so easy. It's nuts. Cyber attacks, true cyber attacks aren't planned, right? I mean, it's just like think militaristically. Like the reason I have Art of War, right? The reason I have Art of War sitting right next to me, and the reason I love using military analogies with cyber is because hands down, I think, this is Neil's personal opinion, I've got no problem admitting this, I think that cyber is best viewed through a military lens. Offensively, defensively, GRC-based, risk-based, however you want to think about it, I personally believe that cybersecurity is best viewed through a military lens. I do. Hands down. The reason for that is because I do fundamentally see that you can't predict the adversary. And there are lots of adversaries, right? You've got everything from script kiddies to nation state attackers. I used to call it Neil's 3 levels of hackers, right? Nation states, right? Cyber criminals, script kiddies, right? And so when you think about the range of threats that you have to pay attention to, there is no one-size-fits-all strategy. And I think that that's where the military mindset comes into place. You have to play to the threat and you have to play to the risk. I think that's why the military analogy works. And so, right, true cyber attacks can't be predicted, right? I can remember even... I can remember even in the military, when we would do certain exercises, even if we got intel that we thought some nation state was about to launch an attack, it was literally seconds before it happened. It was literally seconds before it happened. And like, I think that's a best case scenario for most cyber attacks. Like, oh shoot, we see the missiles coming. Watch out. And so no, I don't believe you can predict cyber attacks. Real quick, audience numbers are going up. I'll remind everybody to head on over to Discord. The giveaways are live in Discord. Keep the questions coming in on our AMA stream. But the giveaways are live on the Cyber Insecurity Discord. They'll be live through Monday. Head on over to Discord. Go into the giveaways channel. We're giving away 3 Net Plus courses, 3 Security Plus courses, and 2 AI auditing courses. So a total of 8 giveaways on this Friday. It's Giveaway Friday. Where's my Oprah meme? You get some courses. You get some courses. Everybody gets some courses. Lots of good stuff happening out there. I want to give a huge shout out and thanks to ACI Learning, specifically my good friend Jennifer for hooking us up. Do me a favor, go out there, give them a huge thanks for supporting the stream. That's the best way. Once they see how much traction that they get from supporting the stream, that's a good way to have them come back and give you some more free stuff. Another golf question. I love it. I can't get my drive past 270 yards. Any tips? Yes, stop trying. No, I'm serious. I'm serious. You know, when I started piping drives, when I stopped swinging really hard. It sounds nuts, but for my golfers out there, go download this app on your phone. You're about to see what my golf folder looks like if it'll show up on camera. It may not show up on camera, right? But there's an app out there. I don't know if this is going to show up well or not. Whoop, there we go. It's called Tour Tempo. It's this one and the lower. Wow, I suck at this on camera. This one right here, Tour Tempo. Go download Tour Tempo and learn how to use tempo in your golf swing. That has been absolutely game changing. You want to know another trick? Instead of watching Bryson DeChambeau throw out his shoulder, instead of watching Rory McIlroy, who looks like the most insane ballerina on the course, go watch LPGA. Wow, dyslexia kick in there. Go watch the ladies play. Go watch the seniors play. Right? They have the slowest, smoothest swings on tour. And that is how you should be playing golf. If you're trying to throw out your shoulder like Bryson DeChambeau, you're playing golf wrong. Oh, I love it. This is awesome. Thank you thank you. I heart you. I heart you so much. Morning, stumbled upon your channel this morning. Cybersecurity or golf isn't really in my wheelhouse of interest, but find your delivery of information really engaging, so it locked me in this morning. Thank you. This means the world to me. I truly do appreciate the feedback. Welcome to Cyber Insecurity. I'm glad you're here, and I'm okay that none of this is in your wheelhouse. Ask me a question about what is in your wheelhouse. I'd love to talk about it. Again, it's an AMA. Ask me anything. I'll see if I can opine on it. I absolutely love it. All right. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much for being here. That makes me happy. We get people from all walks of life coming into the channel. I absolutely love it. Welcome wherever you are. This is a good one, right? From True. Maybe a hit question. What do you think of the kinetic response to cyber attacks? Fantastic question, right? And this was an ongoing conversation in the military, right? Because, again, the military is known for its kinetic attacks, right? Whether we talk about planes dropping bombs, boats shooting stuff in from the sea, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, the kinetic response is natural in the military, right? And so this was a constant conversation. I think this is again, back to Neil's personal opinion, spent 10 years in the military, the majority of which was in offensive cyber. And so I saw a lot of policy stuff. I saw a lot of, decisions being made around, op ords and things like that. And what I'll say is, this is what made it hard to do national wartime policy around cyber. Because our instantaneous response as a country is that if we declare something war, we got to go send bombs and bullets. And so at the time, a national strategy that said, hey, if you hack into our critical infrastructure, we're going to consider that an act of war. Congress, the government as a whole, and this is not political, remind everybody to keep politics out of chat. Keep politics out of chat. We're talking strictly from a pragmatic perspective. You can talk about it as long as you keep it pragmatic. Right? Our response when we make a declaration of war is to send bombs and bullets. And that becomes really problematic. And so I don't think that you're too far off with this question, because it's something that weighs heavily on what I believe our military's mindset is. If we make a declaration of war because of a cyber attack, do we have to send bombs and bullets? I don't think that is a proportionate response. It could be, right? But I don't think we've even determined what a proportionate response to a cyber attack looks like. Now, I say that, but let's also make something expressly clear. Cyber attacks happen daily. When I would sit in the ROC, the Remote Operators Center, we're talking 50 cybersecurity offensive operators a day running 12-hour shifts, running operations back to back to back. those are technically cyber attacks. They're happening every day. And make no mistake about it, any adversary to any country, right? This isn't everybody else versus the USA. The USA is doing it to people. You know, the Asians are doing it to other Asian countries. The South Pacific countries are doing it to European countries. The European countries are doing it to South Pacific countries. Everybody is doing it. All across the board. Cyber attacks, like if there's any question, cyber attacks happen daily. Period. Dot. End of sentence. You just don't hear about them. And that's legit. Like, you're not supposed to hear about them because they're happening for national security reasons. They're happening for classified reasons. You're not supposed to hear about them. Just because listen, if it may, I'll say this too. If you're seeing about it in the news, it's old news. It's so old news. We would see, like, go out there and Google Operation Aurora. I think you can Google this. I think it's publicly available. I'm pretty sure. Operation Aurora was Chinese APT targeting Google, Lockheed Martin, and I think a couple of other companies. We saw it come in, and we did our ever-loving best to get the necessary approvals to declassify the right information to where we could get to these companies to warn them. But it was too late. So by the time you read about that, the apparatus that secures companies, the apparatus that secures the nation, was already at work trying to deter that cyber attack from China. Go read up on it. It's a fantastic use case of the national security apparatus trying to protect private industry. For those who say, like, you know, the FBI doesn't do anything, there's some truth to that. For some who say, like, the NSA should share more things, yes, that is still true, but it does happen. There are cases and there are proof out there where that does happen. It's not as dire as some people would have you believe. Logan over on LinkedIn. Appreciate the question over on LinkedIn from Logan. I understand it's been some time since you worked for the Air Force. I want to work in cyber for the Air Force, both as a civilian and as a reserve officer. Are there any specific learning paths or certs that you would know of value in the hiring process? So yes, it may have been a while, but things haven't changed a whole lot. I don't think that they have completely ditched DoD 8570 yet. And so I would say if you're looking specifically for US DoD, US contractor GS work, you know, civilian type of work, or you're going to be a reserve, I would say if you go focus on the course material that is in DoD 8570, that is the path that I would say that you need to start with your education so that you can have the highest likelihood of getting hired in that industry. Matt says, what are you drinking this morning? So I've got a new dark roast. Damn it. I totally forgot. Oh, hold on for a second. TikTok needs me to remind it that I'm still live. That's actually pretty annoying on TikTok's part. I really actually hate that. That's actually super annoying. I meant to bring it up. I have a new dark roast that I got. It's so you know, for those who don't know, obviously I was diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago, and my wife Carmen she was a health nut before, and obviously, as any amazing wife would do, she's gone overboard with her health nuttiness. I wouldn't say it's solely because of cancer, but you know, I'd say there's like my cancer probably informs quite a lot of that. And so like I've eaten healthier in the last 2 years than I have in the last 44 years, right? Let's just say that. Like, it's been nuts how much healthy I've eaten and drank. I don't drink soda anymore. I don't go to Starbucks for coffee. She actually goes out and researches all of these brands and techniques and things like that. And so she finds these responsibly sourced organic coffee growers here in the US. So we had been drinking a brand called Larry's Coffee. Larry's Coffee does not support this stream. This is not paid promotion. This is just informing you. They're based here out of Raleigh, Larry's Coffee. We've been drinking that for a while. We found a new one, and I meant to bring the bag up to show you all this morning, but it's a dark roast, and I'm a huge fan of the dark roast because, as you can tell, the caffeine hits me pretty good, and you get pinger, you get real pingy Friday morning tea with a hacker with Neil when I get the dark roast going on, right? And so I've got the dark roast going this morning. So I've got I'll bring the bag up next time we stream so you can see it. But I've got a nice little dark roast chai tea latte. And for those who don't know, like I didn't go to, like, I don't go to the coffee place. Like, I literally have a machine, and I grind my own coffee, make my own espresso, I brew my own loose leaf tea, I froth my own milk, and I put them all together in this cup, and I come up here and come into a caffeine-induced tirade with you all for 2 hours in the morning. So if you're looking for somebody to blame, go blame Carmen. Caffeine-induced tirades. And this is just water. Try to thin out a little bit of the caffeine that's rushing through my system. How serious does it have to get for a specific hackback? If you're talking US versus businesses, I think that businesses should never even consider hackback. Hackback has been, like, I've been having hackback conversations for well over 15 years. Like, it's not a new concept. When we talk about hackback, we talk about, like, oh my God, I'm detecting an attack. Therefore, or maybe you've detected an attack, maybe it's very past tense, and you've decided that you're going to retaliate for said hack. As a national security situation, I can unequivocally say we do hackbacks. Absolutely. It may not look like what you may be thinking it looks like in the movie, right? I'll give you a real world example, right? As much as I can. We would be doing an op, and it's hard to, like, I'm trying to, it's the hesitation is trying to think how much context and how much depth to give you. So if I don't give enough depth, please feel free to ask me to go deeper. I'm happy to talk deeper on any aspects of this that you see. I see the question over on TikTok. Let me tell this story, and then I'll absolutely answer that question over on TikTok. I appreciate the questions on TikTok as well. We have various hot points. Like, if you think about like this idea that we would hack through compromised servers on the internet is a true thing, right? Oftentimes there are multiple hot points before you get to your destination. That is by design, right? We know that our adversaries are going to attempt to trace us back, and so we definitely have multiple hot points. If you're looking for a concept, here you go. Steve Tao. Steve Tao, it's good to see you. Listen, this man, I love this man right here on LinkedIn. This was one of the first civilian pen tests I did with this dude. I'm not going to say what company it was for or anything like that, but it was, this gave me such hope for working with private companies when I'm on the outside, because he was like, find everything and tell me about it, because I want to know so we can protect the organization. Steve Tao, it's good to see you. I hope you're doing awesome. I don't see you enough. Stay cool, man. Stay cool. Anyway, if you're looking for one concept to learn about running exploits through multiple chains of reverse SSH tunnels. That's a real skill. Because you would have to create this long SSH chain to eventually get to your target so that you could run an exploit on your target. Anyway, we would be on a hot point, and we had these checklists that we had to do to determine, we called them situation awareness checklists, to determine, are we the only actors on this box, right? Makes sense, right? You land on a box. Before you do anything else, before you break any OPSEC violations, you want to determine, is anybody else operating on this box? Because you never know. And so we had landed on a hot point to do an op, and we had found another nation-state adversary on that box. In addition to finding another nation-state adversary on that box, we had seen what looked like a precursor to an attack. And this is where it gets kind of sketch. And again, I remind everybody, keep politics out of chat, but we can talk pragmatically about this case. We watched the attack happen. Now, we watched the attack happen so that we could write a report on it, so that we could give it to the warfighting machine, so that we could have a warfighting response, aka a hackback. But that process took a while. And what happens is you have to write the approvals. You have to request legal permission to conduct an offensive operation. Because again, and I've talked about this frequently, don't get buried by this concept, but there's Title 10 and Title 50. Title 10 is the wartime legal code. You can go read up on it, but it's basically what authorizes military to conduct military operations. And military and cyber is deny, destroy, degrade, disrupt adversaries' use of the internet. And so because we needed to do that, we had to get legal precedents to say that we had a wartime operation to deny, degrade, disrupt an adversary's cyber operation. Once we did that, then yes, we hacked back. And we have there's entire playbooks on things that you can do for a hackback, what you would refer to as a hackback, that we would do as an offensive cyber operation. And so that's what real hackback looks like. This idea that you're going to engage in some, like, oh my God, the adversary is attacking me, quick fire up the hackback team and you're going to start attacking them in cyberspace. No, that's not what that looks like. Looks vastly, vastly different in real life. But hackback at the nation state level does happen, and it is real. It is fun to think about. I'll tell you the closest I got to that, and then I'm going to answer this question on TikTok. The closest I got to that was we were on the box, and we saw the adversary live trying to circumvent our actions on the box, and we were then trying to circumvent their actions on the box. Like, we were fine monitoring, but then we got discovered and they actively tried to control our activity on box, and we actively tried to respond to control their activity on box. That was the closest that I think, if you visualize that was the closest that I think I've ever seen to like what you would envision as cyber dogfighting. But it was like that happened once in an entire career type of thing. Question over on TikTok was thoughts on CompTIA rebranding CASP Plus to Security X. I think anytime anybody rebrands, that's going to be so harsh. Oh, you can tell the filter kicked in for half a second there because that was going to be super cynical. Rebranding doesn't make your content not suck. There, I said it. Rebranding doesn't change the suck of your content. Like, and that is how I feel. Like, call it cynical, Neil, right? If you screwed up your brand so bad that you have to rebrand, you messed up. You messed up. Like, just go get another business model. Bruce Banner over on YouTube. Great to see you, Neil. It's great to see you too. This is our Friday morning AMA stream. My name is Neil Bridges, here answering all your questions. Absolutely love hanging out with you on a Friday morning. Drop those questions in chat at any point in time. We'll grab and push them up on screen for the world to see and for all of us to answer. There are no stupid questions at all, period, dot, end of discussion. There are no stupid questions. We'll talk about anything from golf to cyber to the tea that I'm drinking. You name it, we'll talk about it. Absolutely love it. I'm here for you. There are giveaways going now in the cyber insecurity Discord. Head over to the Discord, get into the giveaways channel. We have 3 Net Plus courses, 3 Sec Plus courses, and 2 AI auditing courses that are being given away from now till Monday. So if you're watching this VOD tonight, tomorrow, over the weekend, whatever the case is, you can head over to Discord, participate in the giveaways, and we will be more than happy to give you some free stuff. This one coming over from Pipe757. Neil, I've got 6 years of experience in cybersecurity, and a company recently acquired the company I worked at and moved me from a security engineer to an ISSO, Information Security Officer, with a focus on security architecture. While this feels like an amazing opportunity, I feel incredibly out of my depth. I'm being asked to do policies, talk about business risk, and other tasks that I haven't done before since I was just a techie previously. How do I shake this imposter feeling when it seems kind of warranted? I love this question. I love this question. Congratulations. Everybody give some claps, drop some cheers, drop some bits across your relative platforms for Pipe757. You got an awesome role. You're taking on new challenges. Super proud of you. Couldn't be prouder. Right? Second, I have a video for that. If I can get somebody to drop a link for the imposter syndrome, actually, I think it may be exclamation point imposter. All right? Go check out my imposter syndrome video. Imposter syndrome is real in this industry. Everybody gets it. I get it. CEOs get it. CISOs get it. Everybody gets imposter syndrome. It will happen multiple times in your career. It may happen multiple times in a day or a week, depending. Right? It will happen multiple times in your career. So it is normal. Acknowledge its existence. Embrace the suck of imposter syndrome because it reminds you that you're smart and that you're human. With that being said, my video has 4 things that anybody can do today to overcome imposter syndrome. With that being said, let's address your question specifically. Being an ISO with a focus on security architecture is a direct road to success. I don't know if you have CISO or upper management aspirations, but exactly what you're describing when you're asking to do policies, talk about business risk, and the other associated tasks that are with that ISSO role, specifically around security architecture, is a direct path to executive leadership. Why? Because you're being asked to opine and influence and implement what is effectively the security strategy of the entire enterprise. Right? I imagine your day-to-day is like business A wants to launch with a new e-commerce site that's going to produce some tens of millions of dollars a day, a month, a year in revenue. You're being asked to look at what controls do they have in place? Are they putting a WAF in front of it, a web application firewall? Did they do secure coding? Have they done a penetration test? Right? You're being asked to look at all of that. You're being asked to opine on all of that. You're being asked to grant exceptions where exceptions are needed, and you're being asked to make the organization safer. Guess what? You are on a trial run for a CISO. Congratulations, my friend. And that's probably why it feels like you're out of your depth, because you've gotten a huge promotion. You've got a huge bump in responsibility that puts you closer to being in that executive leadership team than you probably have ever thought you would be in the past. So it may seem like it's warranted, and it can definitely feel scary. my advice to you or anyone else who's thrust into this is what we refer to in the industry. This is a secret. This is a secret. Pay attention because you're going to want to hear this. I'm looking across the platforms, making sure we got viewers who are listening and paying attention. You've been given a secret tool in this industry that is rarely talked about. It's got a special name, and I'll channel my inner gladiator, my inner Marcus Aurelius. It can only be whispered. You've gotten what's referred to as opportunity. It's a rare thing. It's a rare thing to be given opportunity to show how awesome you are. And it's scary. It's like a big monster, but it's really it's got a gentle heart. It's like a panda, right? It can rip your face off, or it can be nice and fluffy and cuddly when you hold it. Depends. So what you need to do is you need to embrace it. You need to embrace this opportunity, and you need to capitalize on this opportunity, because that is your box that you're going to stand on to propel your career. I couldn't be prouder of you. This is an amazing opportunity. Congratulations. Please keep us informed with how it's going. Absolutely. I just got notice that our Simply Cyber crew is coming over from their stream. Take this moment, take a breather. We do need a Simply X Insecurity stream. Jerry and I need to be on stream again together. I do agree with that wholeheartedly. I miss my boy. I really do. But I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for the future. And speaking of, Blazing Up over on YouTube says, if you like cyber and learning, the future looks bright. I think the future looks bright all day long. Cats, and it's not that. Cats, don't even. It's good. It's a good one. It's a good one. No. Okay, Maz, easy there, Tiger. Easy there. Good morning to our Simply Cyber folks coming over from Jerry's stream. Jerry, it's good to see you. We've been at it, hanging out, chatting for another hour. Glad to see everybody coming in. Oh, I love this. We'll do this one. We'll do this one while the Simply Cyber folks come in, grab a chair, sit down. Come on in, Simply Cyber folks. Welcome. Hopefully, Jerry drops some amazing truth bombs on you. I have no doubt about it. Another golf question. What's your current bag setup? I'm running Ping 525s. So not full blades. So in the golf game, right, you've got game improvement irons, which is a fancy way to say cheaters. You've got blades, which is what the tour pros play. And then you've got something that's in between where you're not fully cheating, but you're not good enough for blades. And I'm fully willing to admit that I'm not good enough for blades yet. I'm getting there. And so I've got 525s, which are kind of like a hybrid between game improvement and full-on blades. Full bag, right? So, 9-iron to 4-iron, Ping 525s. I run a Callaway Paradigm triple diamond for a 3-wood. And then I run a Ping G430 LST, low spin technology, for a driver. 9 degrees. I don't rebalance the tungsten anywhere or the other. I keep it pretty neutral. I'm working on using that neutrality to shape the shot however I want to. I have a stiff flex for my driver. I'm running the regular flex now. I'm debating on the stiff flex versus the regular flex. I definitely feel the distance on the regular flex. I can move it roughly, like my swing speed's hanging out around 110 with a regular flex. I lose about 5 miles an hour when I go to the stiff flex. But yes, I admit my consistency is better. And so it's an egomaniacal thing for sure. I run a lab putter, which I changed out from an Odyssey mallet putter. So I only run mallets. I don't do blade putters. I run the lab putter, which I absolutely adore. Like, that has been the greatest putter purchase that I've ever bought. For those who are, just as we're talking about golf, while we're waiting for the Simply Cyber folks to come in and catch a seat, my handicap now is sitting at about 13. That's my GHIN. Obviously, the handicap I keep my 18 birdies is different because I score everything in 18 birdies. But I'm such a bad golfer. I only put my tournaments in GHIN. I don't put my practice rounds in GHIN. I know that I should, but I do anyway. On my 18 birdies app, my handicap's about an 8. I just shot my first 70s round this last weekend. I was playing a practice round and I shot 78. Had the most birdies in a single round that I've had. I had 4 birdies in a round. It was pretty awesome. So lab is interesting. Like, we could definitely talk about the lab putters. You should text me and ask me about the lab putters because I've got lots of thoughts on the lab putters. All right, so now that we got the Simply Cyber folks coming in, don't forget there is a giveaway. I want to remind everybody, we do have a giveaway going in Discord. Head on over to Discord. We're giving away 3 Net Pluses, 3 Security Pluses, and 2 of Jack Scott's AI auditing course that we talked about 2 weeks ago on Sec Data Ops. The giveaways will be running till Monday. So don't stress. Like, it's not like you got to go in there now. I mean, I want you to go in there now so you don't forget about, so you don't forget about it. But we wanted to make sure that we gave that opportunity across all the platforms, because we are streaming across multiple platforms, to head on over to Discord to participate in the giveaways and give everybody who sees this stream live now and then also over the weekend to get in there. Let's go back to the Hackback conversation, because I do think there's a lot of great questions coming in for Hackback. Prior to Simply Cyber showing up, we were going through some examples of Hackback and how Hackback happens at the nation state level and kind of the values of it in and out of a private organization. So there's a couple really good questions that I do want to hit on from a Hackback perspective that I think are awesome, right? This was one of them from CyberTies, right? How serious does it have to get for a specific hackback? And I think that this boils down to a risk question, right? If we think about a nation state, if we think about like what it looks like from a nation state perspective, it depends, right? I could say, generally speaking, and again, these were the rules in, up until what I would say late 2016, 2017, when I had information coming from those organizations. Generally speaking, unless it was a national security objective, we wouldn't get involved with Hackback. Right? Yeah. If it wasn't pertaining to a specific national security objective, nah, no Hackback would happen. It just doesn't happen, right? We'll take it. We'll gather. So listen, you have to understand something. This is what makes it weird. Listen, hands down, this is what makes it weird, right? Think about the intelligence agencies. And this is why I say like the military taught me a very pragmatic approach to thinking about risk. Right? And so let's look at it a couple different ways. Let's really broadly, and if John was here, John would love this conversation because we both worked similarly in this information warfare space. Generally speaking, if we think about intelligence agencies like the NSA, the National Security Agency, DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, and the NRO, the National Reconnaissance Office. I'd say that those are the 4 scariest national-driven intelligence agencies that exist out there. If you didn't know that, if those are new acronyms for you, welcome to the world of hyper intelligence, right? NSA, CIA, DIA, and NRO. NRO, as much as we talk about the NSA, the NRO is even more exclusive and even scarier. Let's just say that. Like, I had to have a poly to be at the agency. You have to be on like 3 layers of special access programs to be at the NRO. Like, it's scary. Yeah, you should go look at the NRO if you've never heard about it. Like, you won't find much, but what you'll find will kind of show just like how intense the NRO is. Anyway, let's take a couple of those, like the CIA. The CIA's mission, and I'll reference the legal codes, fall under Title 18, counterintelligence. And so they are authorized legally to conduct their operations to disrupt the ability for our adversaries to do intelligence gathering on the United States of America, counterintelligence operations, right? Which means that, like, if they detected a country was spying on the U.S., they could do whatever it was to stop that. Whatever it was to stop that. The NSA, the National Security Agency, they have, for all intents and purposes, what's referred to as a Title 50 mission, which is an intelligence gathering mission. Intelligence gathering, which means we're out there gathering intelligence on other nation states to bring back to the United States of America. So let's make those two distinctions, because I think those two distinctions are important. So if I'm at the agency and I land on a box and I see that a nation state adversary is attempting to conduct a cyber attack on some function of the United States of America, assuming that it doesn't violate any national priority like critical infrastructure or something like that, what do you think is more important to me on an intelligence gathering mission? Disrupting that or gathering intelligence on the adversary? Think about that for a second. As an intelligence gathering organization, what's more important to me? Disrupting those operations or gathering the intelligence? It's always gathering the intelligence. And this was huge. This was why there was such a conflict of interest when General Alexander was head of NSA and he was U.S. Cyber Command Commander, because he got to wear both hats. He could flip a coin. He could literally flip a coin and say tails were an intelligence gathering mission, heads were a military mission. And that was always the hard part, because gathering intelligence almost always won. Gathering intelligence almost always won. And so when you ask about, like, how bad does it have to get for a specific hackback, intelligence will always win. Unless it is a direct threat to a national security objective. This is why I would say, I'm going to make a bold position here. This is going to be controversial, and I admit that. I'm saying it intentionally controversially. But this is why we allow cyber attacks to happen. Because we can gather more information. We can gather more information by watching cyber attacks happen to the U.S. and understanding our adversaries' TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures, than we can by stopping it. You may not like that. Voice your disdain for that thought process in chat if you disagree with it. Please, I welcome it. But that, my friends, is reality. Absolutely, Cybershade. Fantastic follow-on question, right? At the end of the day, is that why it took so long to take those balloons down? You damn right. Like, think about it. Think about it. Right? If I see a spy balloon in the air, do you know how much intelligence I can gather on a piece of hardware that the adversary sent into our airspace? Here's what you don't hear. The military had I think they're EC-2 planes, signal jamming planes around that weather balloon 24/7, blocking any signal going in and going out of it. Hands down, that unequivocally happened. There were planes that were blocking any signal going in and out of that balloon. And they followed that balloon until it came down, and then every piece of that hardware, every piece of that recording mechanism, every encryption key, every satellite, geo IP or geo address, anything like that was analyzed, scrutinized, and used for intelligence purposes. Because it is so much better to have intelligence than it is to take it down. That's the long and the short of it. That is the long and the short of why that stuff happens, right? When you think pragmatically about it, it makes more sense. Now, in the private sector, Maz has got a great question, right? What's the value of a hackback from a company's perspective? You hit them and piss them off, and now instead of just extracting data, they lock your ish. Right? Companies are not equipped to hack back. Make no mistake about it. Right? That's like security guards going up against Delta Force. Like, I don't care how good your SOC is. I do not care how good your SOC is. You are not as good as cyber criminals. You are not as good. Some of your SOC operations, I'm gonna hurt some of your feelings right now. Some of your SOC operations aren't as good as Script Kiddies and Hacktivist. Just saying. Just saying. Right? So, like, I think it is, like, this is a bunch of go down to Bob's Army Surplus, buy a bunch of fatigues with your bearded, non-fitting boots, pretending to go be Army out in the woods. That's the equivalent of companies thinking that they're going to, Gravy Seals. That's the equivalent of companies thinking that they're going to hack back. Private companies thinking they're going to hack back. It ain't happening. Like, it's a bunch of people who are like, put me in the fight, boss. I'm good, I swear. I could totally take on that nation state attacker that's in our network. There's a great there's a great meme that I use frequently in Discord, right? Who's the girl from Hunger Games? God, I can't remember her name. God. Whatever her name is from Hunger Games, right? No, the actress name, not the character's name. Not the character name, but she's on a panel one time and somebody in the audience, Jennifer Lawrence, thank you. Somebody asked her a question and she kind of goes, okay. Like, that's how I think about when I think about companies like, yo, let's do some hackback, yo. I'm like, that's like the nerd walking up to the UFC fighter and be like, yo, I could totally punch you in the face. And then when you get socked in the face and laid out, it is a fool's errand to think that a company will ever be in a position to do hackback. Ever in a million years. And there is no incentive and no motivation for it. What advice would you give a new IT manager starting with a company with no IT department and all business is cloud-based? What are the top 10 things you'd focus on first? Automation. If you have nobody working for you and you're trying to secure an organization, run an organization, worry about automating as much as possible, right? Because you're going to get underwater incredibly fast. I know this, right? I'm the CISO for a startup. I'm also the security analyst, the incident responder, the threat hunter, the pen tester, the IT person, the IT support engineer, the help desk, network administrator, network architect, etc. Right? The sooner you can have the mundane stuff just kind of take care of itself, the better prepared you will be to think strategically and to implement sound strategic policies across your organization. Good luck to you. I have faith in you. Go be awesome. Do you think a Dream Machine Pro is enough from a security standpoint for a small business? I have no idea what a Dream Machine Pro is. I think that if you're managing, like, if I were to interpret your question, right? As long as you are fiscally responsible managing your risk, you're making the right decision. right? What I think is important when you're asked to secure an organization, regardless of the size, is it's not about the technology. The technology is pretty much irrelevant, right? What is important is that you've made the fiscally right, risk-managed decisions. It is okay for you to buy off the commercially available, off-the-shelf item that isn't in the Gartner's upper right-hand corner if it's easier for you to manage your risks that way. And it's cheaper. So absolutely. This is a good one too. I love this one. Is there any cybersecurity projects that can be done for a college resume, or should I focus on learning more about specific fields in cybersecurity? I'm new here. Welcome, Light Feather. Glad to have you. Welcome all of our new folks here. Welcome to Friday Morning Tea with a Hacker, although I'm out of tea. The caffeine is still flowing through my system pretty amazingly. Love new questions. You should absolutely focus on projects. Absolutely. I think that learning specific fields will come in time. And I think projects, from a return on investment perspective, outweigh everything else. Yes, I do. I do totally believe that. Thoughts on attack surface management projects? Yeah. Ugh. So the hesitation, just so you understand like how the brain's thinking right now. I'm trying to think about the best way to inform you without sounding overly cynical, because it's really easy to get cynical, right? Attack surface management is another Gartner, Forrester witchcraft incarnation that they all thought about as they were, lighting candles and doing their thing, right? Like understand that like I am incredibly cynical in how we do technology classifications because they rarely mean anything. And Rick talked about this yesterday a little bit in Sec Data Ops. Go back and watch yesterday's Sec Data Ops stream because we talked a little bit about this. You have to be really careful with technology classifications. And so I don't think that there is any value whatsoever in the Gartner definition of attack surface management, especially from a product perspective. You know why? Do you realize that we've always had attack surface management? Let's think about what the words mean of attack surface management. What is your attack surface, right? Your WAFs, your firewalls, your web servers. The surface of your organization by which attackers can gain initial access. Attack surface management. What does that sound like to you? What does that sound like to you? Sounds like vulnerability scanning, doesn't it? Sounds like pen testing, doesn't it? Sounds like firewall reviews, doesn't it? Sounds like all that stuff. All that stuff that boils down to basic, fundamental cybersecurity 101 things. So why did we need to make a product for it? Right? What customer problem were they solving? Now, some in the space would argue the customer problem they were solving was, it was really hard to do, so we made a product that made it really easy to do. Really? Did you solve for the fact that my IT team still refuses to patch a critical vulnerability when I tell them about it and it takes them 90 days to patch that? Did your product solve that? Did your product solve the business making an exception for RDP 3389 to be open to the internet because some remote worker needed to have access to this server via RDP? Did you solve that with your product? No, you didn't. Because you're not focused in on what the problem actually is. You're focused in on getting your VC money and getting your 10, 50, $100 million exit. That's what you're focused on. Call it what it is. Right? And this is why I'm cynical of these market definitions, is because they're created so that somebody can be in the upper right. I think attack surface management as a strategy is absolutely paramount to the defense of your enterprise. Period. Dot. End of discussion. Period. Dot. End of discussion. You should be vulnerability scanning your endpoints. You should be vulnerability scanning your attack surface. You should be conducting penetration tests on your attack surface. You should be doing architecture reviews and firewall rule reviews as part of your attack surface management process and strategy, right? Those are things that are important to attack surface management. And I do not, like, you heard Jeff and I argue about this on Wednesday, right? People, process, technology. And I believe in it in those order, right? People, process, technology. You should focus in on your people. You should make sure you have good process. And then once you have a strategy and you've got the right people and you're executing the process, then if you need technology, then if you truly have a problem, a true problem that you can't solve with people or process, that is the time to look at products. That is the time to focus on how can technology advance your people and your process to solve your problem in an enterprise. Period. Dot. Hands down. End of discussion. That's the order in which you should be doing it. And so I don't think attack surface management products solve a real problem. Happy to hear otherwise from anybody who's deployed them. Happy to hear otherwise from anybody who's deployed them, but that is not what I believe in at all. This one from Fear My Dark. What do you think of bug bounty hunters? I think they are the most entrepreneurial, forward-leaning people in the entire world when it's done right. When it is done right. What does that mean? The people who go out there and scan for companies vulnerabilities voluntarily, and then send email to their CISOs trying to fear bait them on how critical of a vulnerability DMARC and DKIM are and SPF records, and how it's the end of the internet if you don't pay them $3,000 for finding your missing DMARC, DKIM, and SPF records, are the worst kind of bug bounty hunters that exist out there. Period. Dot. End of discussion. And I've had this experience, obviously. That's why I can talk about it. I actually have been on the phone with some of these bug bounty hunters where I've asked them to walk me through their report submission, where I've given them mitigating factors and techniques, asked them to explain why something that the CVSS score is a 4 or 5, they seem to call a critical in their message, and they can't. You know why? Because all they want to do is fear bait you out of money. You know what we call that in other industries and in legal terms? Extortion. That's why I make the distinction with bug bounty hunters who do it right versus the ones who fear bait. If you want to do it right, go to HackerOne, go to BugCrowd, sign up for the programs, and do it the right way. If you want to be a freelance, you want to target companies, hopefully you got a good lawyer. And hopefully you're not out there trying to fear bait companies, because that ruins it for everybody else. That makes a bad name for you. That makes a bad name for me. That makes a bad name for the entire industry. And we should be shunning those bug bounty hunters because they are not bringing value to the ones out there who are doing good and great work. And that's the end of that soapbox. Tell that one's very heated one for me. Bruce over on YouTube says, based on your experiences, what would you say is the most challenging domain field of cyber? For example, an architect over an engineer, blue team over red team, GRC over program management. Listen, I got a soft spot for my blue teamers. I got a soft spot for incident responders, SOC analysts. They are the frontline soldiers. They are the frontline soldiers. They are getting smashed day in and day out with alerts and attacks and responding to companies getting breached and attacked, phished, poked and prodded day in and day out. Hands down, what I would say the most challenging role in a cybersecurity organization is a SOC analyst. Absolutely, hands down. I got much love for them. I will be 1,000% honest. Again, 10 years in the Air Force, large portion of that doing offensive cyber for the NSA, built, ran, executed multiple pen testing teams, numerous years afterwards. When I became in charge of my first security operations center, and I lived on the front lines with those guys day in and day out, that was when I found out. I was like, oh man, my thoughts on this have been completely wrong. My thoughts on this have been completely wrong. And that was it for me. I saw that and I was like, blue team for life. Love it. Still love my hacker heritage. Blue team gets all my respect. Anybody who works in a security operations center doing any of those jobs, you guys have the hardest job in all of cyber. Got a few more minutes left here on this Tea with a Hacker. Probably give it about 15 more minutes. I do actually have a job that I do have to get to myself to start my Friday off. I'll take this quick opportunity to remind you, my name is Neil Bridges. First time here, welcome. Thank you so very much. Want to tune in. Little programming announcements going on. I'm still trying to convince Jeff to come back for Old Guy Wednesday next week. We'll see how it goes. No Sec Data Ops next week, and no Tea with a Hacker next week. You're not going to believe this. Gasp. I'm going on vacation. That's right. I'm taking a well-needed vacation starting next Friday. We'll go play some golf down at the beach, take a chill pill, enjoy my last weekend of summer before we roll into officially fall. We do have giveaways going on in Discord right now. We're giving away 3 Net Plus courses, 3 Security Plus courses, and 2 Auditing AI courses in Discord. Make sure you hit that exclamation point Discord button. Head on over to Discord, go to the giveaways channel, participate in those giveaways. We'll run those giveaways. We will do some stream next week because I want to announce the giveaway winners, right? But you can still see the giveaway winners inside of Discord, but I want to give a huge congratulations to our Discord, to our winners. So we'll do something next week. I just haven't figured out what yet. But do head over to Discord to participate in the giveaway. Whether you see in this video now, live, or sometime in the next couple of days, the giveaway will close Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll take no more entrants, and we will run the giveaway and see who wins all of those lovely courses. Kara, thank you very much. ACI Learning. Looks like Classic Lad disagrees with me on the ASM product take. Agree but disagree. Listen, let's make no qualms about it. I do this openly welcoming disagreement. We love civil discourse here on the stream. My opinion is not the only one, and I will be the first to admit, just because I have an opinion, just because I have a platform does not make my opinion right. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that my opinion is the end-all, be-all, and therefore you should listen to me, and that's one of the things that I think is of value. of cyber insecurity is I will absolutely put your opinion up on a platform as well so that you can give your opinion. If it's counter to mine, if it supports mine, whatever the case is, let's talk about it. Let's have some civil discourse. Do not ever in this channel ever be afraid to put your opinion out there, even if it disagrees with mine. Hands down. Hack Maestro, you don't forget the rule about posting the question more than once. Just because you posted it in Twitch and then posted it in YouTube, you posted it twice. Please only post your question once. So I think only a human can solve the human problem when it comes to hygiene. ASM products make it easier to spot the simple things defenders miss, often leading to hacks. So doesn't it have some value? That is a statement that I will wholeheartedly agree with in its singularity. You're absolutely right. Tools help spot things that defenders miss across the board. Whether we're talking Tenable vulnerability scanner, whether we're talking your EDR, whether we're talking Proofpoint from your mail gateway, tools help you spot things that your defender misses. But again, this is why I go back to it's people, process, technology. Far too many times, and the industry has tried to teach us this, that we should lead with technology, that technology will solve all problems. That's where I have the problem with that logic, right? You should make sure that you have enough. And when I say enough, I don't mean that you have as many as you want, right? If you have budget for 5 security analysts, that you have utilized your budget to hire the best that you can get of the 5 security analysts you've got. And of those 5 security analysts, you analyze what they are capable of, what they're not capable of, where is the best use of their time, how do you efficiently utilize those 5 security analysts to the maximum of their ability. Right? Then how do you put a process around those 5 security analysts so that you can maximize, through the use of process, their ability to identify the threats, identify the misconfigurations, respond to those misconfigurations, try to put a process in place whereby those misconfigurations get pointed to the appropriate people, either in architecture or policy or IT, whatever the case is, to get them fixed. And then after you have gone through those things, if you can realistically say that of the 100 deficiencies or artifacts that we have in our enterprise, my people, my process can only handle 50% of them, then you can strategically say, okay, we need a tool that brings 2x capability so that we can reach 100. And now you actually have requirements for what it takes to do attack surface management. And now you can go to the marketplace with an informed decision. An informed decision about the technology you need to buy. You may come to find out it's not something that exists in the ACM or the ASM marketplace. Think about that for a second. When you go through steps 1, you go through steps 2, you may actually find that your deficiency is in a piece of technology inside of IT. It may be a piece of technology that exists inside of the business. Which is why I encourage a people, then process, then technology flow, because now you can go and you can make the most informed decision about what it is that you need. And so I agree with you. I don't disagree with you. I'm encouraging you to think about it in a strategic, pragmatic fashion so that you just don't go, oh, I need an ASM. Why do I need an ASM? Because I know that my people are missing things. Well, how do you know? Have you done an assessment? Have you looked at your people? Do you understand what they're capable of? Have you had your processes reviewed? Are your processes the most efficient thing possible? Are you looking at your process and do you have metrics that understand that if you have 100 deficiencies, what are your people and your process solving for? And then have you taken that to define requirements to say this right here is the type of requirements that I need to solve for the other 50, 60, 40, 30, 10% of the deficiencies inside of my space. Right? And so your response, your rebuttal is founded. I think we agree more than you let on. I'm advocating for a pragmatic and strategic approach. But I love it. I love it. Hey, Neil, your shows with David Bombal got me started pen testing, start of the year. Great advice, and thank you. Much appreciated. Hope that you get better. Thanks so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so very much. El Loco Daddy says, I just want to say my wife came across your page and told me about it. Thank you for the information you're putting out in the space you provide that allows for connections to be made. You may be aware of what you're doing. You may not, but thank you. I thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart for things like this. I absolutely, absolutely love it. It means the world to me. Thank you so very much. I love the military mindset and cybersecurity Neil brings. I find it interesting, but there's lots of content about it. Kind of happens in the shadows secretly, which makes sense. It is. It's why I like my take on it, right? I was very disillusioned in coming out of the military, thinking that the real world operated a certain way. And I was disappointed when I found out how the real world operated when I got out from a cybersecurity perspective. I think for me, that was when I kind of decided that I was going to follow a different path. In my talks, when I would give talks at B-Sides or ThoughtCon, Black Hat DEF CON, when I gave talks anywhere, anytime anybody would ask me to come keynote, anytime I'd speak at conferences or vendor events or things like that, always trying to take and share my military learnings with you all, because I think that's where we're failing. I think we don't have a good pragmatic approach to cyber as an industry, and I think that's what's really holding us back. We can and should do better. I know that we have the capacity to do better. I think we are our own worst enemies. I truly do. From start to finish. From start to finish, I think that we in the industry are our own worst enemies. Anything from petty infighting to nuke each other out of the way for $1, it happens, right? So much petty infighting that happens in our industry. So much petty infighting. It's nuts. Absolutely despise it. To robbing your brother for a share of the market, lying about your capabilities. These are the things that are going to hold us back. These are the things that are going to keep the adversary winning. I don't have a gloom outlook on the future. I think the outlook is bright, but we are not doing ourselves any favor, and all of us who are on the front lines, all of you that are on the front lines of security, are paying the price. I'll let you in on a little secret. I love my entire audience. I love the community we built over 4 years. You all have kept me so sane through my cancer journey. You guys have kept me inspired through my golf journey. You guys have been amazing. The reason I wanted to stream on Twitch, the reason I wanted to stream on YouTube when we first started out, was because I wanted to talk to the folks who were coming up in cyber, the folks who were new to cyber. I never wanted to make a show for CISOs. I wanted to talk to you. Right? I wanted to talk to you. And the reason I wanted to talk to you was because you all are the future of cyber. You are the future of cyber. And I wanted to pass on my learnings and my experiences to you freely and openly, free of charge, so that you can build a better cyber tomorrow for everybody. And so if I had one ask, Help me spread the word to cybersecurity professionals. Help me share that knowledge with other cybersecurity professionals so that you all can build a better cyber. Demand more from your vendors, demand more from your leadership, demand more from the industry, because we have the capacity to be better than we are today, and I fully believe that. That being said, thank you so very much for hanging out with me and spending time with me on this Friday morning with Tea with a Hacker. This is absolutely my favorite stream of the day or the week is Tea with a Hacker. There's a giveaway going on live right now inside of Discord. Make sure you go get that free training. Do the free stuff first. Chase the knowledge, not the certs. Whether you're on the red side or the blue side or still deciding, keep learning, and we'll see you next time.